Hey everyone, welcome to the Fin Factor live edition. This is again, I was calling it the crash and burn edition. You'll notice that Aaron is not sitting in his chair here. That is because super producer Jason is not with us at the moment. However, Aaron is trying to take over those duties and get us rolling on the stream so that we can do a sort of show. So he's stoked and happy. Go ahead, show him the face you just gave me.
I did it. I did it. Holy cow, I did it.
So yeah, like he's very excited. It's like a child with a brand new toy. You feeling good?
The list of instructions to get this up and running is about probably 6-7 pages.
Yeah.
Did you look at? You didn't even.
I didn't even look. There's no point. I'm not gonna do it. So
anyway,
regardless,
we're here.
thanks to super
on a
producer
second.
Jason's instructions and Aaron's ability to read them, we are up rolling and we have that light off now, so we look even better for
lighting.
you guys. So
My head was so shiny.
we are ready to take comments and questions. This episode obviously going to be more centered around the trade deadline that occurred actually and yesterday,
Yep.
and we're kind of going to be recapping on some of those things that happened. We would have done it yesterday, but Aaron was feeling sick. Super Key Grip Joe was feeling sick, and of course, super producer Jason not in the house with us. So
Right.
we had to postpone that one. We apologize for that. Is your gonorrhea cleaned up now?
Oh, Jesus. We had the flu, and it was
Okay.
horrendous. The whole house had it for the entire weekend.
Well, then it could have
we
been
were
worse.
Down and out. It was bad. Someone just comment, please, to let us know that you can actually hear us and it's working, because that would make me feel so much better. I think I did it all right, even the sound and everything. So yeah, just let us know. All right, let's start with the trades. Let's go back to last week.
Okay.
So,
Brendan Dillon.
Brendan Dillon. That was it was a very emotional day.
Yes.
Was that after the Florida game?
Actually, the emotional day, the really emotional day was the day before, right? That was
Florida after the game.
Yes.
After the game against
Yes,
Florida.
yes.
We were at that game.
Yeah.
We went to that game. Poor Brendan Dillon, man. He had been in the, I guess you could say, in the news, right? He's been written about for months about this is going to be a great trade deadline pickup for a bunch of contender teams. And, you know, those players all read that stuff. They all
of
see
course.
it. In fact, Brendan Dillon is a fan of the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he
If we want to
follows
that out there or
the
not,
Twitter.
but,
Yeah, he does. He follows.
yeah, he's a big fan. So, Brendan, we're very happy. We can hear you guys. Everything is working. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm so pumped right now.
Yeah, no, good. Go for it. This is your moment, man.
So Brendan Dillon, all of those emotions came to him when, the deadline at that point was a week away.
Yeah.
Because I think it was a Monday game, so it was a week away. So Doug Wilson, thankfully, almost like, I don't want to say it, like he put down the dog, like the
he showed him
suffering.
mercy.
Yeah.
He showed him mercy. He said, you know what?
It's a lot. It's a lot to take. Like, you don't know where you're going.
It's like, you know, maybe I could put the screws to Washington and see if they can, you know, give me just a little bit more, right? Maybe just a little bit more. But you know what? The way that Brendan Dillon, you know, the emotions and the outpouring, you know, of emotion in that post-game interview, I think it was that even Doug said that. He says like that was actually part of the decision.
Yeah.
Was seeing, you know, the player going through that, and it's, you want to do the right thing for the player. So, you know, for me, you look at it from two angles. One, Doug Wilson could have got more potentially, right? So for the team, some people were saying, nah, he should have got more for Brendan Dillon, and I can understand that, right? But on the other hand, you know, you from as a player's perspective, not a player of the Sharks necessarily, but any player around the league who maybe is going to be a free agent and is thinking about signing with the Sharks, this is one of those things that, you know, it comes out that, you know, Doug Wilson took the human side here, and you know, this might be a good kind of a calling card, you know, to other free agents and saying, hey, you know what, this guy's going to treat you like the human being that you are, you know, not just an asset, right? And he's going to try to do right by you. So I don't know. I think it's, you know, whether you could have got, you know, instead of that third, the conditional third, you know, being another second, right? Or if it was the third, but then they added in a prospect, maybe a low-level prospect, that one little extra bit. I don't know. I think, you know, showing the rest of the league that you're going to be that type of GM, that you're going to take care of your players, even when it means they're not going to be your player anymore. I think that goes a long way, and it always brings me back to when Brent Burns was traded and Setaguchi went the other way. When Burns came into the gym that day, when he had just flown into San Jose, and Setaguchi was still in there. and he was working out. And it's like, he's not even a part of this team anymore. They traded him, but they're like, use the gym however much you need before you go. Do your thing, you know. And
I think the Sharks are well known for being a first-class organization in terms of treating their players right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So he did him right. I think he got a decent haul, I think.
Yeah.
Washington's a very strong team. I mean, they just went out and got Kovalchuk, too.
Yes.
From Montreal kudos for Montreal. They signed him for dirt cheap after he got cut, basically, from the Kings and turned him into a fourth-rounder, I think, from nothing. I think they got a fourth-round pick.
I thought it was higher than that. No, it was just a fourth. Wow.
I think it was just a fourth, but he was leaving after that. I mean, he was only on the team for like a month.
Yeah.
it's incredible.
So you go. He had a horrible start in L.A.
Well, L.A. was just terrible.
No, exactly, but he wasn't helping the situation. Is my point. So he goes to L.A. and it's just not working out, and then he ends up going through this whole ordeal. Montreal's got him, and then he starts kind of producing. He just kind of gets some life pumped back into him, and good on them for flipping that and turning into an asset for them.
Yep. Lundy, thanks for the $1.99.
Oh.
He says, thanks for the shout out last week. We shouted out to him in the episode.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for the $2.
Thank you so much.
Let's see. Let's get some comments here. How would you go ahead?
I was going to say, let's try to step through the trades in terms of taking the comments.
Sure.
So we'll ask the folks who are giving comments and whatnot. Do you have any comments specifically around Brendan Dillon? And if not, okay, cool, we'll move on. But let's try to hit one topic and then move on.
The question from Zach Croft is an overall question of how you grade Doug Wilson.
Which is what I would rather do at the end, yeah.
Let's go through all the trades, and then we'll go through what we think. So after the Dillon trade, the next one that was announced was Patrick Marleau.
Yes.
He got traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And let's see, he got a conditional third-round pick. We got a third-round pick for 2021.
Yes.
Not for this upcoming draft, but the one after. But it's conditional. If the Penguins win the Cup this year, then it turns into a second-rounder.
Yes.
Which, so what? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think next year's draft is as deep as this current year. I would be more excited if it was that way.
Sure.
If it was this year's third-round pick instead of next year's third-round pick. Only because I don't know much about the draft next year, but I know this year's supposed to be the deepest ever.
Regardless of the draft next year, it's a bargaining piece. It's an asset.
Right.
You can trade that for a pick this year to a team that maybe isn't looking for that, right?
What I'll be talking about later too.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, for this year's draft.
Yeah. I mean, basically, so we picked up a bunch of draft picks, and then we picked up 4 draft picks in the first 3 rounds by making all these trades, which I think is great. Those assets don't necessarily need to be used as picks. They can be used as sweeteners to deals to allow another player to get traded at the draft or to move up in the draft or whatever the case may be. So a team that may not be looking for a second round pick this season, maybe they're good enough as it is, and they're just looking for later round picks.
I mean, that's pretty good haul for a rental player.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Well, so and again, we go back to this is a guy who got bought out in Toronto. I'm sorry, he got traded to Carolina to be bought out by Carolina, but Toronto basically couldn't use him anymore for their cap reasons.
But Carolina tried to get him to stay.
Did, and that's my point. They wanted him to stay. They were willing to pay him the full amount to have him just stay there and play there. He specifically said, no, I don't want to play anywhere else. I want to be in San Jose. So this is a guy that was not going to play on any other team. We were 4 games into the season, hadn't won a game, but 4 games into the season, and he still hadn't signed with anyone else. So he was loyal to this idea that if the Sharks need a guy, it's going to be me. I'm that guy. I'm waiting for them, right? So you take a guy that had that on his mind where I only want to play in San Jose. You're paying him league minimum, so he's not going to affect anyone's cap line at all, right? And he was a free agent.
Right.
I mean, he was a free agent. You didn't have to trade for him. You didn't have to give up any assets for him. There was nothing you had to give up to get this guy.
And we're getting that pick for only 2 months worth.
Exactly.
Of services, really?
Like that to me is ridiculous. Yeah. Like that is, for me, that is a great haul for Patrick Marleau. And it's not like, I think somebody misunderstood me on Twitter because they were like, well, I think it's a win for both teams. And because I said I think it's a smoking deal. And the guy goes, well, I think it's a win for both teams, especially if he plays for Pittsburgh. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not saying we won the trade. I'm just saying it's a great deal. I mean,
it's really hard to have winners and losers in trades now. There's all these conditional picks.
Yeah.
Like it makes it more balanced, I think.
Sure.
Because imagine we got a 3rd round pick for him, and then they win the Cup. You're like, oh man, and he scores the winning goal, you're
Yeah.
like, we should have gotten a first rounder for him, right? Or a second rounder
Sure,
or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now there's this conditional picks where it kind of balances things out. You're not going to see very often the Edmonton trade of Taylor Hall for
Adam Larson.
Like, you just don't see that anymore. Or
Yeah.
the Joe Thornton trade from
Yeah.
way back when. You don't really see those anymore because of these conditional picks.
Right.
So I think picks and trades are a little bit more balanced than normal.
So on that topic, Patrick Marleau, are there any comments, questions regarding the Brendan Dillon or the Patrick Marleau trades?
Just some people. Caretaker said, "I'm just happy that Dillon is with a contender."
Yes,
I agree.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I mean, for me, that's a little more personal. Again, I've been to the practices, and this is the one guy that every single time, when first of all, he's always the last guy off the rink. Like he was always the last guy off the rink. And I'd hey, how you doing? He'd always respond back. He'd stop and chat with fans or whatever the case was. I mean, he was always that guy. It's nothing against Brent Burns, but Burns, he's the first one off. He's running off. He doesn't want to stop for anyone. He doesn't even acknowledge anyone. He just goes. And I get it. You got your thing going on. That's cool. But in terms of likability from fans, there was no one for me who was more likable than Brendan Dillon. So for me, seeing him go to a contender, I will happily be rooting for Washington to win a cup there. And I know Marleau, he's longer in the tooth and he's got less years to win one. And I hope he gets his opportunity and everything. But I do not want to root for Pittsburgh.
Hard to root for the Penguins. I've always liked Ovechkin better than Crosby anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. To me, I feel like the Washington Capitals are the Sharks of the East. I mean, they just won 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, who's the other one? I saw another comment in here. Navy 47 said, "I'm sad Dillon left." Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
What's terrible is the Sharks' play kind of dictated that he was going to go.
Yeah.
If the Sharks were still in contention and they didn't lose Hurdle, they didn't lose Couture, and they were still in the thick of it, he wouldn't have gone. They would have been
of course
buyers
somehow
at the deadline. So it sucks for Dillon, but it's also good for him. It's good for his career because now he's going to show what he can do on a very good Capitals team. He could he just stuck up in a fight. Was it against
fought Malkin,
right? That's gonna. Your fans are gonna love you right there. Washington's gonna be like, yes,
what
this guy's great.
What do Evgeny Malkin and Tomas Hurdle have in common?
They're both turtles.
Turtles. Because, oh my, when the ref was standing in between them, he didn't have a problem trying to throw jabs. As soon as the ref got knocked to the side there and Dillon had him one-on-one, turtled, full on, covered his face. That was no bueno.
It's not going to take long. And then the rest of the league, now he's on an East Coast team and on a West Coast team, they're going to see more of him.
Oh yeah.
So his stock just went up for it's a
big
free,
time.
What do you call it? He's unrestricted free agent, so he's going to be heavily sought after this upcoming summer.
Yeah, and I don't know what Washington's cap situation is like, if they're going to be able to re-sign him or not. If they can't re-sign him, he's going to get a pretty good payday.
I don't think they're going to re-sign him. They have too many big-name players. They don't have money for it.
Yeah. So anyway, if there's any other comments or questions about those guys, we'll go ahead and address them. Otherwise, we can move on to number 3.
Yep, number 3. Barclay Goodrow. This one kind of surprised me a little.
Shocked me.
Only because he has another year on his contract. It doesn't surprise me because he's a great penalty killer.
Yeah.
And kind of a utility knife that you can throw in, as the Sharks have seen, a number one center at points in time.
11 out of 12 positions.
Number one center. Yes. Not that he is, just that he could hold his own on top lines, top 6.
Right.
So very good pickup by them. They paid the price because I think he had another year and it was a cheap year, basically.
Cheap contract.
Cheap contract. Tampa Bay they're going to be in a whole world of trouble for cap space coming up even next year.
Yeah.
So it's good for them. They gave up a first. We gave up a 3rd-round pick, but it was actually the Philadelphia pick that we got when we traded Justin Braun a year ago.
Right.
So sorry, Lundy. I'm sure that made you a little sad, but that pick turned into Justin Braun now turned into a 1st-round pick.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not a bad haul. And a good what do you call it? Draft year.
Yeah. I mean, if you told me Braun and Goodrow for a first, essentially is what that is, right? So not bad.
I hate to say it, but I really hope Tampa Bay bows out in the 1st round again.
Oh, yeah.
Because now that 1st-round pick is a 16th, 17th overall.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fantastic. So I am not rooting for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
No, I'm sorry, Barclay Goodrow, but you also have 1 extra year with Tampa Bay, so hopefully you win it in year 2. But this year,
Sure.
I don't.
Well, there's
sorry.
no conditional pick there, so I don't really care. I want the Sharks to win it next year.
Well, sure, that's fine. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Anyway, the Barclay Goodrow, that actually did shock me, though, partially because I forgot Melker Karlsson was injured.
Oh,
I forgot that he was injured. And so I'm going, why would they trade Goodrow? That doesn't make any sense. You would trade Melker Karlsson as UFA. He's the penalty killer. He's the guy, right?
Maybe nobody wanted him.
But I think because he was hurt, right? So that, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that they went after Barclay Goodrow. That says a lot about the Tampa Bay Lightning and what they saw in a player like Barclay Goodrow. Again, like you called him, a utility knife, right? This is a guy that has perennially been on the 4th line. He made his way all the way down to the 4th line in the AHL, worked his way back. So his stock has risen like crazy.
Gotta reset my mic.
He's resetting his mic. His stock has risen like crazy, and obviously it shows when Tampa Bay is willing to give up a first. Now again, they're willing to do that, giving up the first simply because they're going to be in cap trouble, and it's a guy that they can trust and rely on, as seen on the San Jose Sharks roster, and he's not going to cost them too much. So, I think it worked out for both sides. I think there was a lot of Tampa Bay fans who were upset about giving up their first for a guy like Barclay, but I think it's going to help their organization out. I don't think they need to have a number 1 prospect in their organization right now. They've got too much firepower. They've got lots of talent all the way through their lineup anyway, and adding another guy who's going to need a big payday in a couple of years is probably not on their plate. So I don't think it's a bad move by Tampa Bay. I think they did overpay for him, but I don't think it's bad that they did.
I don't think they quite overpaid because they got a 3rd-round pick coming back. If they didn't get that, I think that would be like, wow, that's way overpaying.
Yeah. No,
but because they got a 3rd-round back, I think it's okay.
That's fair, but even so, I think for a 4th liner, just because you're adding a 3rd in there, this isn't NHL 20. It's not like you have little trade bars, right? A 1st-round pick is still worth a good fair amount. So. I'm not really sure that, the 3rd necessarily totally balances it out, but it does make a whole heck of a lot more sense. But either way, I think it's a win for both clubs.
I think if he's a UFA after this year, it's not a 1st-round pick coming.
Oh, no,
back
no,
to
no,
us.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Casa de Pescado, what was the point of trading Goody? I saw him as part of the future, and with our cap problems, why get rid of a solid player on a great price? Because we got a 1st-round pick.
Because you got a first.
That's why. We needed a 1st-round pick. Now, after talking about all this, you want to go over like everything that we have in total going into the
we
after
can
trade
just
deadline?
listing everything down. Yeah. Well, but okay, let's talk about some of the things that didn't happen though.
Okay,
right.
sure.
So like Jumbo didn't happen.
Well, it came out today.
Yeah.
That Jumbo I think it was taken a little out of context.
It was.
I think the question was kind of, are you disappointed that you didn't go to a contender kind of thing?
Yeah.
And yeah, he's disappointed, but it's not like people were really ragging on Doug Wilson, like, why didn't you trade him? You're such a jerk for leaving him on the team and not taking him. Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to take him, or he tried to trade him. Jumbo wanted to go to a contender team and like a serious contender. So Boston, Tampa Bay, Colorado, maybe Dallas.
Yeah.
None of them wanted him. That's the truth. Other teams probably inquired. Other teams that were
Florida,
Florida have a chance, or they're battling for a playoff spot, and Jumbo's probably just doesn't want to go grind it out for the next 2 months and then go into playoffs. So he probably said no.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of 2 sides to it. I don't think it was Doug Wilson being selfish and keeping him on the team.
Yeah, I think he wanted a sure thing more so than a bubble team, but he wanted it to be a sure thing that he would still be able to contribute, that they still needed him, right? So maybe that's really all that it was, and for whatever reason those teams didn't want or need him. Nate Ritchie.
Yeah.
Ritchie went to Boston, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of, for me, that was like the Knicks on the Joe Thornton. I feel like they got the guy that they were looking for, and that's why the Joe Thornton thing didn't pan out in Boston. It would have been great to see him and Patty go with the same team, but
right. I think it would be such a cool story to see Joe go back to Boston. I think that
everybody
awesome.
thinks that. Yeah, okay, great.
Whatever. I think it would be awesome, and they're such a good, strong team that they have a chance. They were in the finals last year,
but they don't need him either. So why bother making the? Maybe the asking price is too high. Him. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe they wanted a 1st or a 2nd for him. They said no.
Oh, I can't imagine. Unless again, you're throwing something else back to him.
Right.
But even then, like you said, if Barclay Goodrow didn't have that one extra year on his contract, it's not a first coming back.
Yep.
So I can't imagine it would be the same for a 40-year-old Thornton, who you're not going to try to convince to re-sign a contract later on. Barclay Goodrow, after that second year is up, Tampa Bay may say, hey, you know what, we want to offer you another contract with Jumbo.
Extension, yeah.
Not very likely that the team's going to offer him much of an extension beyond at least 1 year, right? So anyway, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Joe Thornton not being traded? I think it's actually like I think Bugner had said, you know, it's good for, and Doug Wilson had said it's good for the team.
Oh, definitely.
It's good for the young guys. Even Joe Thornton had said, you know, he acknowledged that, you know, I've got some work to do. There's a lot of young guys in this team, trying to get them to, you know, learn to play hockey the right way and all those things that, you know, a veteran can kind of pass down to the rookies and whatnot. So he says these guys' work cut out for him. I think it's a good thing. So it seems like he's going to be back next season. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. You don't think so still?
I don't know. I think maybe because he didn't get traded and the Sharks are in the playoffs, maybe he's going to try and do it again. It also depends on who we bring back next year.
Right.
In terms of centermen.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him being no more than a third-line center.
Well, you're going to have Hurdle and Couture.
Couture and Hurdle, right?
Yeah.
But maybe we bring in another third-line center. Now he's our fourth-line center. But then now you're pushing back those younger guys again. I mean, right now those younger guys are essentially trying out for the Sharks for next year. They're playing their tails off so that they can get on the roster for next year and show that they belong in the NHL. Now, a lot of the AHL guys, they're not going to be a top 6 player.
No, exactly.
There's just not anyone really. And I was hoping we'd see Chekovich and
Chmelevski.
Yeah, maybe we will towards the end of the season. Maybe the last couple weeks just to kind of give him a taste.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
you know, I don't mind him blocking some of that talent because that young talent really had an opportunity this season, a gigantic opportunity this season, and they have an even bigger opportunity in these last 20 games, right? You've got guys that you've now traded out, that you're bringing these guys in, and they've got this opportunity to play third line, fourth line, even on the higher lines, right? So. They're just plugging guys in, especially if, you know, Timo Meier and Kevin LeBanc continue to underperform. I'm sure they'll get pushed down. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say, I almost forgot we need to push down the Timo time thing. Sorry, Kyle, Timo's mom. They had the opportunity and they squandered it. So I don't care nor mind if that means that, you know, Jumbo is holding somebody else back from jumping in and getting a little bit of experience in the NHL that they're going to squander away anyway. So I don't know. It would be nice if they stepped up and actually had some sort of impact, but we just haven't seen it.
I just don't know if he can physically play a full 82-game season again next year.
Maybe he can't. Maybe this is the season that he's his last 82-game season, or, you know, full season, and maybe next season's where he starts kind of pulling back on some of the games, taking those spa days during game days. Who knows?
Let's go take some other questions here. Going to Couture, actually. There's some people that were surprised that Couture was playing tonight because he looked terrible and weak on his skates. You can clearly play he wasn't physically ready to play NHL action. Why would he play and not just wait longer? He was probably itching to come back.
Yeah, hard.
And the Sharks were also could be they were on the road trip, and he went on the road trip, and they might not have been able to call up guys in time. Who knows? I'm sure he wanted to play. He's the captain. He wants to play. He wants to be that.
I gotta imagine they had a healthy
guy,
scratch.
I feel like
they must have had a healthy scratch because he said that we have a lineup with and without Couture.
Okay.
So I imagine that that's not part of it. I think that he just said, you know, I want to get in.
But it's also these games aren't meaningful really for the Sharks. They don't need the points, so they're not going to be going all out.
Yeah.
So it's probably just good for him to kind of maybe even test out the ankle.
Took a puck in the ankle.
Yeah.
He went down. Came back up.
Ankle?
I hope not. I honestly, I just saw the replay. I had so much stuff going on today. I really couldn't even get my eyes on it. I was listening as much as I could, but
oh, you were on the app?
Yeah,
because I was driving and I couldn't listen on the radio.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Of app only. I'm a fan of the app. I'm fine with it, but I'm not a fan of app only.
I don't mind that they're only doing it for 4 games as a test run.
Sure.
The A's are doing it next season for the entire season, which is bananas. I mean, baseball and radio, I feel like, go together hand in hand all the time. It's just, I don't know, such a tradition that it's really bizarre that they're doing that. Yeah. Anyway.
What was the topic there?
Couture playing.
Yeah, I think it was just a hard thing. I think he just, I'm ready to come back. I want to come back. I think he's just itching to come back. That's really all there is to it. Now, there's some folks going to say, why bother? You don't want to risk him getting injured again. Just shut him down. They're still paying him to play hockey. So, I think he's a prideful guy. He's going to come back when he feels he's ready. And whether that's a game too early or not, that's for them to decide. But, I would obviously rather him not risk further injuring or re-injuring his ankle. But it's what he decided, what he wanted to do. He almost hurt it again today with that puck. But
fracture is one of those things that just heals over time. It's not going to re-break in the same spot, most likely.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that you're just coming off of it.
A groin injury, right?
Yeah.
Where you come back too soon. Soft tissue injury. Anthony says, Paul, you didn't miss much on the Sharks game. Another complete yawner.
Yeah, I heard it. It was, I think it was 3-1 or 2-1, 3-1. Yeah, it was
4-2.
No, it was 2-1, then 3-1, and then it ended up being 4-2. It was 4-1. Then I think actually the rookies were the other ones that scored today. I think Shellman scored one and Gregor. No, Gregor.
Bad when Shellman is scoring for you. Not that he's a bad player, but you shouldn't be relying on him to score for you.
The other one was Gregor.
Right.
So
Gregor, I don't mind so much. He's an offensive guy, more of an offensive threat. I feel like. You see some. Oh, Anthony says the Sharks are showcasing Couture so they can trade him during the draft. I don't see that happening.
No.
I do think they should still trade Burns, though.
I'm kind of still on that train, like that it makes. It makes sense. I'm on that train 100% that it makes sense. Okay.
Depending on what comes back.
The thing you're going to get back for Brent Burns, I think it makes sense. He can have a down season.
Another first-round pick.
Easily.
Plus a top prospect, basically.
Easily, yeah. I would say a top forward prospect, a first-round pick, and then a roster bottom six defenseman.
It'll be good for Doug Wilson to go after a team that made the playoffs this year and gets dumped in the first round because they don't have an offensive moving defenseman. And that's what they're going to focus on. They go, we need to get one of those so bad. And then Sharks will, here's Brent Burns. How much do you want him?
Yeah.
I think that's realistic. And then it happens at the draft.
So let's say Tampa Bay gets knocked out in round 1. Okay, that becomes the 16th.
They have Victor Hedman.
16th pick? No. Hear me out.
Okay.
So that becomes the 16th?
Right.
Then insert other team that gets knocked out of first round that needs the offensive defenseman. 17th pick. So if you were to get 16 and 17, then you have the 16 and 17. You send Brent Burns, you have both of those picks along with your prospect, along with whatever else. Then you take 16 and 17, you move up.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. That'd be sweet.
Move that up to a top 10.
Easily in top 10. Yeah, top 10 and probably like a second or third on top of that, right? For a team that's looking to be better, but doesn't need the top 10, right?
It's possible.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it makes sense. That's all I'm trying to tell you guys.
There's a lot of different moving pieces.
There's a lot of things that could be going on, but
I mean, it really does suck that we don't have our first overall pick or our first round pick, our own first round pick.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Ottawa, man. Have you seen the picks that they have coming up?
Yeah, they got a ton.
Oh, unreal.
A ton of them.
I'm going to pull it up right now.
Yeah, okay. So Ottawa, and now everybody's thinking, Ottawa's, laughing and whatever else. Hey, that's great. That's part of what happens when you make a trade. Sometimes, it really works out in your favor. For the Sharks to say, we shouldn't have traded that pick to get Erik Karlsson. I don't think that's the right look. I don't think that's the right call necessarily. Right. Wait.
Ottawa, 3 first-rounders.
Yeah.
They have their own.
They're loaded.
The Islanders.
Yep.
But if it's a lottery pick, it's conditional. If it's lottery, then the Islanders will keep it.
Okay.
If it's not, then they get it.
Right.
The Sharks. Then they have their own second, Columbus is second, Dallas is second, Islanders second, then their own third, Winnipeg's third. That's, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks in the first 3 rounds. 9!
That's bonkers.
They have 13 total picks.
I mean, you would package those and just move way up in the draft.
But you know what Ottawa's going to do? They have a very cheap owner He's
they'll
gonna
just pick where they are or trade down.
Well, no. They'll keep those guys, and as soon as it's payday, they trade them. So in 3 years from now, you're gonna see a lot of these guys get traded because they don't want to pay them.
Okay.
I mean, look at the 2015 draft, one of the best drafts ever. That's the Timo Meier draft.
Okay.
Mikko Rantanen, Mitch Marner, all these guys came out of that draft. All of them got paid. Remember, it was the RFA summer, right?
Yeah.
The offer sheet, because all these guys needed to get paid. And now Ottawa, in 3 years, they're going to be in a big hole, and they're not going to be able to pay them all, which would be a way for the GM to be like, hey, maybe you should trade one of those picks, so you don't have to worry about the payday coming. I don't know. There's a lot to think about when you have the cap.
But essentially, you're saying Brent Burns is not going to Ottawa.
Oh,
that's too much money.
To Ottawa.
That's too much money.
Ottawa wouldn't pay him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Are you guys upset or about the whole first-round pick thing with Erik Karlsson? I don't know. To me, somebody brought up a good point, and it might have been you, actually. It's better that if Ottawa wins that lottery than if LA or the Ducks win that lottery, right?
Sorry.
It's a good way of looking at it. It's better that Ottawa wins the lottery.
Yeah. The East Coast team, basically. Yeah, we don't have to face them.
Yeah,
you'd see that guy once a year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not so bad.
Exactly. As opposed to, LA or Anaheim gets him, and then he grows in their system, and you have to deal with him every year for the next decade plus, right?
Ottawa will be another Edmonton. Ottawa has a chance to be a real dynasty. I don't think so because of their ownership.
Yeah.
They're just going to...
They have a chance, but they're going to squander it.
I mean, when you get that much talent in one draft, and then it all comes to payday...
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... Look at Toronto. They kind of got hosed, right? Then they had to get rid of Marleau by trading a first-round pick to Carolina just to get rid of him. So, I think it's a good thing to get that many picks, but I think there's a point where it's too many picks.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh man, how are we gonna stock all these guys? We got to trade away other stuff to just make room.
Well, I think that's where you get the packaging picks together to move up.
Yeah.
Right. So you have less picks, but you get a higher quality player.
So they have 9 in the top 3 rounds. They could trade off 4 of them, or trade down, or maybe even trade for next year. Like, hey, we'll give you this year's second round for next year's second round, or one of those picks. So that way we have 2 this year and 2 next year.
Yeah, they wouldn't trade down because then they'd have even more picks, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. You trade up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can imagine them doing that. So anyway, what else was there in terms of the prospects and whatnot, or were we done with that? Or the trades, prospects.
I think we're done with the trades.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in summary, I'm just going to read this right off the board here. In summary, coming in, 2021st from Tampa Bay, 2022nd, which is Colorado's. That came from somewhere else. I think was it Brendan Dillon? Yeah, the Brendan Dillon trade. Washington had the Colorado second. So the first from Tampa Bay, second Colorado. Then the 2021 third or 2020 third, depending on if the Washington wins the cup or not. Then the 2021 third from Pittsburgh or 2021 second, which again you said you would rather it be the 2020, not 2021.
Right.
I'll get to the other 2 in a second. Out Dillon, Marleau, Goodrow, and the 2020 third from Philadelphia for the Justin Braun trade. The last 2 pieces that were in. I don't know his first name. Davidson's last name is a defenseman. He's probably
Brandon Davidson.
Brandon Davidson. Probably an AHLer.
No, he's played. He's got some NHL.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has some experience.
Okay, there you go. So,
he's got 169 NHL games.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Not so bad.
Played for the Oilers, the Canadiens, Oilers again, Islanders, Blackhawks, Flames. He's been all around.
Okay, so he's a journeyman.
Yep.
All right. And then Anthony Greco, which to me is, I'm like, if this guy's an Italian, that's a missed opportunity. Hey, Anthony. No, but yeah, Anthony Greco.
I think he's from Queens.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. I looked it up.
AHL All-Star fastest skater, holds the record now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
For whatever skill or talent the guy has, at least he's ridiculously fast. So, I mean, at least for AHL players, I don't know, maybe that doesn't translate as much as NHL, but
he's from Queens.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Just like Spider-Man.
So, you guys want to get younger and faster, Anthony Greco, there you go. So we'll see how skillful the guy is, but at least it fits those two profiles. So honestly, not bad now that I know that Davidson's played some NHL games, over almost 200 games now. It's good NHL experience.
Someone's talking about Davidson, saying that, where is it? The guy's from a small town near where I live, Tabor, Alberta.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Anthony just said Sharks got another Torrey Mitchell.
With Greco?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He hasn't broken his leg yet. What are you talking
Right. Oh, man, I was there for that game.
Oh, yeah, you were?
Or no, I'm thinking of the game I think he raced against the guy from Minnesota who broke his femur in the game. He ran up. They were chasing an icing before it was no touch, and they slammed into the boards, and the guy broke his femur. It was a long time for him to get off the ice.
Really?
I'd never heard a hockey player scream in so much pain.
Really?
The whole arena was silent, and you
Wow.
could hear him screaming on the ice. It was awful. And he was on the ice for a good, I don't know, maybe close to 10 minutes because they had to get the stretcher and barely move him. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. On that note, I guess we'll just kind of open it up here. So actually,
Sure.
we can go back to Zach Croft's question.
Sure. How would you grade Doug Wilson
You
on
want
his
to?
trade deadline?
You want to start?
I don't want to say give him an A.
Sorry, before you start, let's just ask them to give their grade in the comments. Fire away.
Sure. Give your grade in the comments.
No, I already did that. Nick, fire away now.
I want to say it's an A. I think you did a very admirable job for what he could and how many pieces the Sharks had to basically sell off. I don't want to say he fleeced the first round because that Tampa Bay one. I mean, it's great that he got a first round pick. I think it's fantastic. I think that was the main goal, is to get a first round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a first, a second, and possibly a third, but we still have a third, right? I gotta look this up.
Yeah, we still had a third. I think we still had a third because we had 2 thirds, didn't we? It was San Jose's and Philadelphia's.
Hold, please.
Could be wrong.
We don't have a third.
Oh, we don't.
We have Tampa Bay's first, we have our second, and Colorado's second. Because that was the
Conditional. No, it was part of the Dillon trade. Was the
Dillon trade.
Yeah, and the third was the conditional.
Avalanche coming back to us.
Right.
And then we have 2 5th-round picks, and then 2 7th-round picks. Yeah. I don't know. I think I wouldn't say that's an A. I would say it's a solid B.
That's kind of where I am right now. For me, it's like B+.
I'm happy, but I'm
Yeah.
not overly thrilled.
Yeah. No, I think you did great. I think, again, expiring contracts, you get what you can for them. And though I think he could have gotten a little bit more for Dillon, but I think he did the right thing. He did the player a solid. He did the human a solid. And I think that kind of factors into my grade a little bit there. Yes, he could have potentially gotten a little bit more, but I think he made the right move, and he did right by Brendan Dillon. So that factors in for me. The first for Goodrow, though we gave up a third to get the first, I think that's moving up a significant amount of spaces there. So, if that means, Barclay Goodrow, doesn't get to play out his time in San Jose, that's a bummer. But at the same time, we were. I mean, I was a little upset when we let go of Andrew Desjardins. Some years later, I don't care.
He won a cup with Chicago.
Yeah, and that's great. Good for him. And that's what they were trying to do was, get themselves bolstered up for that cup run, and it worked. Awesome. And maybe that's, obviously what Tampa Bay's trying to do here. Maybe that's going to work for them. Great. If it does. But, the only thing that I think that he may have missed on a little bit was Joe Thornton and Dell. There might have been an opportunity to get Dell moved somewhere, anywhere. It sounded like with Vegas, they picked up Robin Leonard. Mm-hmm. So they were looking for a much bigger fish.
I was hoping the Sharks would.
Yeah, I know.
Not at the deadline, but
yeah,
this summer I want them to get Leonard.
They were looking for a much bigger fish. Well, Leonard's going to be a UFA, isn't he?
Right.
So I don't think they're going to re-sign Leonard. They can't. Nah. Anyway, I think there was an opportunity there maybe to get Dell moved, but certain teams that were looking to bolster up on the goaltending side of it, they were looking for either bigger fish or they had already got it done. I think Jack Campbell was the other one that got moved. I can't remember who he went to, but Jack Campbell got moved. That would have been a good opportunity there. I think Campbell and Dell maybe are kind of in the same sphere. But Leonard is kind of way out and above for me over Dell. So maybe there just wasn't the market there, and that I can understand. If there's no market there, you can't trade him. So
I was surprised that Chicago made that trade because it was a 1-for-1.
Yeah, I was surprised Chicago made that trade because you would think that they would want to keep Leonard and try to unload Crawford.
I don't think Malcolm Subban is even close to the same level.
No.
I don't think he's definitely not a starter in the AHL, and he's barely a backup.
There was a pick with that trade as well.
There was?
I believe there was a pick with Subban, and then you get Leonard. But to me, that one didn't make sense. I thought Chicago would have traded Crawford. But Crawford's just, I don't think they wanted him, or maybe his cap hit's just too high. I don't know. But
they got Subban and Slava Demin and a second-round pick, which was Pittsburgh's. And they gave up a fifth-round pick? Oh, it was a three-way trade? I'm so confused. It was a three-way trade between Toronto, Vegas, and Chicago. That was just confusing.
Cool.
Toronto took half his salary. So they moved him to retain his salary. That's why there's a third, and they gave their own fifth-round pick for that. So that's what your fifth-round pick is worth, $2.5 million.
Well, the first was worth $6 million, right?
Right.
There you go. No, but again, for me, I think you did a great job. I would like to have seen. I want to say I like what Jumbo said when he was asked about being traded and not being traded rather. When he was saying, I would like to have gotten something back for San Jose. That to me was big, right? So he's going beyond just the game and just trying to win the cup, and he was disappointed, yes, because he would have liked to have a shot at it, and he understands he's just only getting older and he's already pretty long in the tooth as it is. So it would be good for him to get that opportunity. He wanted that chance, but one of the first things he said was, I was hoping to give. Get something back for San Jose. So, it sounds like if he were to go, exactly. If he were to go, he's very much of the mind that, I would get traded to give San Jose something, and then I would just re-sign with San Jose if they'll have me back, essentially. So, a little bit of a missed opportunity there to unload Jumbo, but, if the teams weren't lining up to take him, again, if there's no suitor, you can't trade him anyway. So, though I would have liked to seen something happen with both Dell and Jumbo, and it just couldn't get done, I don't think that hits the grade too hard. So again, for me, it's like a B+. I think he did well.
There's a lot of B pluses, 2 B pluses, a C, and a C. Lundy, $1.99. Thank you. Why do they do 3-team trades? Well, in this instance, there's different reasons, but in this instance, Toronto ended up eating some of the salary, and they got a draft pick for doing so. So they were basically brought in. The Vegas GM was like, "Hey, we're up by the cap. We can't take the salary. We need some help." Probably called his buddy because they're all friends. They said, "Hey, what's it worth to you?" It said, "Eat up some salary to get in on this trade," and then they did it. That's probably how it worked out. So
and oftentimes just three different teams have something that each one wants, and instead of just going back and forth with your trade, they kind of rotate them around. Like if I needed a goalie and Aaron needed a forward and you, Lundy, needed a defenseman because you love Justin Braun, and each of us had those pieces to unload, we would just kind of swap with all three of us. Instead of me trading you something that you don't want so that you can trade it to Aaron later, we just do a 3-way trade. So basically, just all three parties, they all recognize that they need pieces that the other guys have, and they just kind of trade in a circle. So,
Anthony Sanchez, I was expecting Sorensen, Heed, and LeBanc to be traded.
I've been expecting Tim Heed to get traded since last season.
He's a UFA, right?
Yes, again, he's a UFA. I mean, when is this guy going to learn he doesn't have a place in this team long term? I'm sorry.
Maybe there was no interest.
That could be it.
It's not like he had a no trade clause.
But he signed again, though.
No, I know, but this trade deadline, maybe there was no interest in him.
Well,
once again, we'll see teams that don't have a puck-moving defenseman.
It's hard to generate interest when you're not getting any games, so that's probably what it came down to.
Since Karlsson got hurt, I thought he's been in the lineup.
Yeah, a whole handful of games.
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, come on. So, I don't know.
You know what I did like? The NHL only had one game on NHL trade deadline day. Granted, it was a Monday.
Yeah.
But it's not like they had 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Where people have to get scratched and moved around. So I think that helped This was the most trades that has happened in the last decade on deadline day.
I was going to say, on deadline day,
Yeah,
it
there was
seemed
a
like
lot.
there was a lot going on.
And I think partially it was because of that. There was no games, practically no games. There was only one game. I think that helps. And I think maybe they should do that or look into that next year of making that just a no game day.
Yeah.
So it's easier to move players. And they just have their backpacks and they're waiting.
I think
by
they should have like, the trade deadline day and the day after trade deadline day, no games.
No, you
right?
can't do that many days.
I think you do a two-day break.
Compresses the schedule too much, and there's no need.
Ask Patrick Marleau if he missed one of those games.
Oh, he didn't care.
I know. No, the Iron Man streak.
Right.
He didn't care?
No.
I bet he cared.
Have,
I bet he would have cared.
he would have made it if it was the next day.
Okay.
The trade deadline's at 12 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying if he gets traded to a team and that team plays at 7 o'clock, you got to make
That's what I'm saying.
You
The
got to
day
fly.
of,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be any games. Not the
Okay.
day after, just the day of.
Sure. Pack your stuff, say goodbye, eat at your favorite restaurant, right?
Peace.
Okay. I just think that, give them a chance to say goodbye to everything around you before you go. Then you don't have to worry about breaking up the Iron Man streak either.
Yeah.
It's important to some people.
Left-handed Lions. I'm curious who asked about Jumbo. Probably teams that are like Florida. That
Florida
are
and Dallas.
not
like
quite
heard.
in playoff hunt. They're close, but not there.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think...
It wasn't the top teams, basically.
I think it was LeBron. Somebody had said it was specifically, they said Florida and I think Dallas. Dallas would have been great because then you got Jumbo and Pavs back on the same team again. Instant chemistry. So that'd have been cool.
Yep. All right. What else you want to talk about? People are talking about the draft next year.
Already?
The Seattle draft.
Oh,
Like who we could lose.
next year.
Isn't it a year from now? Aren't they doing it?
Yeah, not this coming draft.
No.
The one after.
In one full calendar year
Yes.
from now,
Yes.
we will be discussing more about the possibility of who will be going.
is
Who
true.
would I like to see go? Martin Jones.
Yeah.
I think they can figure it out. I mean, his salary is not that expensive. He's not that terrible of a goalie. And those expansion teams need to hit the floor
Exactly.
for a salary cap. So they're going to take on semi-bad contracts. But it gives him a fresh start.
Yep.
He's a pretty decent goalie. He's not that old. He's only, at that point, he would only have, 2-3 seasons left on his contract.
Yep.
So it wouldn't be out of the
So if
question.
it doesn't work out,
And the Sharks could trade what a lot of teams did with Vegas is they traded picks or a prospect to make sure that they picked the player that they wanted.
Yeah.
Look at Florida overpaying for keeping one guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, I could see that happening.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll talk about that next year.
Yeah. Could have had Corey Perry, Jumbo, and Pavelski on a line in Dallas if he went to Dallas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That would have been crazy. That would have been a very slow line. I don't know if that they would have put that together.
What was it they called at that time?
Could be
Koivu?
the anchor line.
No, Koivu was on. It was in Minnesota. It was Koivu. I think. I can't remember who it was. There's really old
Parise?
players.
Oh.
Bunch of old, and they called it the AARP line.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, that's what that would be. That would be the really old slow line. Yeah.
Guys, I don't see the light at the end of this tunnel. Help, give me hope from Casa de Pescado. Well, there's no light at the end of this season, but next season, I think we're going to be in a much better position. I think if Doug Wilson can move Burns or one of the top 6 salary guys, that's going to open up so much more space that he can then fill in more depth with UFAs, maybe a couple guys from the AHL, and then the team will be much stronger. I think just giving Karlsson the blue line, he's the only guy that's going to be the turnover machine versus him and Burns. I just think it's going to fare better, and the team will be better.
My problem with the whole turnover machine commentary in general, and we've already talked about this, is that when you look at the top giveaways in the league, most turnovers in the league, it's like, was it at the time, I don't know, it's probably changed since then, but maybe it's 20 out of 20, but like 18 out of the top 20 from like a month or two ago or whatever it was, were all defensemen. and they were all big name defensemen. Like Roman Josi was on this list. Drew Doughty was on this list. Granted, LA hasn't had the best season, but they're all puck moving elite defensemen that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be trying to move the puck up the ice. They're supposed to try to move that puck. So they're, by virtue of them doing it repeatedly, they're going to give the puck away more often, because that's part of what they're doing repeatedly, is trying to move that puck, longer distances and trying to break in. Now you got like more defensive guys like Marc-Edouard Vlasic. He's generally not carrying the puck up the ice, right? It's going to be Erik Karlsson from the blue line. When Marc-Edouard Vlasic makes a pass, it's a safe pass. That's a shorter pass. That's not something that's necessarily going to break you right in through to their zone. When Erik Karlsson or Brent Burns make those passes, it's usually a bomb that's coming from their zone through the neutral zone. They're catching it right at the blue line and trying to get in. So they're making riskier passes. They're making higher skill passes that sometimes it's, again, there's the risk and there's a reward. So I don't know, the whole turnover machine thing, maybe having two of them, it's just too many turnovers.
That's what I think. As
opposed to just having one of them, right? Maybe that's the breaking point. Maybe having two elite puck-moving defensemen who are going to give the puck away pretty often. I mean, that's just the nature of their position. Maybe it's just too much to handle for one team. So who knows? But I think, again, the head move, for me, it makes most sense. If you move Brent Burns, you take that salary off your books, you bring back, a high-level prospect, a guy who can fill in at D, because you're going to have Šimek, you're going to have Ferraro, who are going to be able to step in just fine. They've already seen that this season. Exactly. Yeah. Then you've got, Erik Karlsson, you've got Vlasic, and...
There's your top four. You just need to round up.
Yeah, you round up. So Heed, right? So Heed or Proud or whatever, if they re-sign those guys, I can't imagine they're going to re-sign Proud. But like Heed or whatever.
Maybe
even Middleton.
More, yeah.
Middleton maybe is ready to step in next season. Who knows? You might have a better camp. Then you really just have that one guy that fills in and you're done. Beyond that, again, like a really high pick.
I think you get a guy like Dillon who could be in the top four.
Yeah.
But most likely top six.
But see, I think you already have that in Šimek. I think you already had that. So you
but if you move Burns and Šimek's in the top four automatically.
Yeah.
I mean, bringing in a guy as a UFA.
Yeah, sure.
Someone who is like that.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Like older, but someone experienced. Who?
Paul Martin.
Not that
Bring
old.
him back.
Not that old. He can't move. Someone who's not an anchor.
Okay, sure. I was relating it to Paul Martin. I wasn't saying actually sign him. Dude's retired. Yeah, bring him back. Anyway, I think to me it just makes sense.
People are saying a right winger, a true right winger.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
somebody who's right-handed would be great.
Right.
Yeah,
a top right winger. I think a top six D man. I don't know what you call that. Bottom six pairing guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe even a third line center. I just don't know if Jumbo can do it, if he's going to come back. I don't feel like there's that many pieces.
I was going to say,
like, I feel like they're going to be a contender.
And that's the thing. This season should not have gone down the way that it did. When you look at the roster, this season should not have gone down the way that it did. And, the injuries and everything that compounded on top of that only made it worse.
Yeah.
But even when they were healthy, they just couldn't put it together, and I just do not know why. Part of the reason... I say I don't know why, and then I'll give you a couple of reasons that maybe lead into that, the reason why. But it's not the whole thing. There was something else. There's a chemistry or something was going wrong there. But, when you're expecting guys like Timo Meier and Kevin Labanc to step up, and not just step up, but just improve on the season that they had previous. They're still really young guys, but generally speaking, when a younger guy has a good season and then a great season, you don't expect them to have a garbage season like following it, right? Not that they necessarily had garbage seasons, but you're expecting growth, constant growth, and you just weren't seeing that out of those two guys. And that was when you don't have those two guys doing that, your forwards core, your whole core is pretty limited in who's going to score goals. You're down to Logan Couture, injured, Hertl out for the season, Kane suspended repeatedly, right? I mean, you're out a bunch of guys that are supposed to be putting the puck in the net. So yeah, of course, you're not going to win many games. as evidenced by the last couple of games. Jumbo scored 2. Nobody else scored any. Shellman scored 1, and Gregor scored 1 tonight, and nobody else scored any. Like, the guys that are supposed to be in the roster scoring goals are not scoring goals. So it hurts. It hurts a whole heck of a lot, and you're expecting them to step up and do it. On top of that, you've got the blue line not really doing its job and getting the puck up and out. So
Right.
it's been a crazy season. So, and again, this is why I have a hard time blaming goaltending on the entire season. I know a lot of people love doing that. And notice I didn't say Martin Jones.
Oh, I know.
I said goaltending. So I have a hard time. I don't care what the name is in the back. I have a hard time saying it's all the goaltending's fault when everything else is just not gone the way that it should have.
Let's do a roll call. Tell us where you are watching from and how you found us. Left-handed Lions. This is what he said for the 2021 forward lines.
Okay.
Kane, Hurdle, Meyer, top line. A UFA, Couture, and LeBanc. Sorensen, Shellman, Nason. True, Suomela, Gregor.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I hope Nason resigns. The UFA better be a little bit heavier. Otherwise, you got to move. I hope you got to move somebody off of that top line down in the second, because that top line, that's a beefy line, and I'm fine with that. I like that. There's a whole lot of meat getting thrown around on that line. There's some big boys. Hurdle with his humongous posterior.
Right. Derriere.
Yeah, there you go. Kaner will stick up for anybody and everybody. He'll drop the gloves with anyone. He's fought Chara. He didn't care. And then Timo, if he can get on his game and play the way he's supposed to be playing as a power forward, he's a force to be reckoned with. That line would be just a giant wrecking ball. But that leaves that second line a little light. There's been some talk about maybe Hobgevox getting an opportunity in his last 20 games. He's a really small dude, but he's pretty quick and nimble and agile. I would see him as a fit maybe with the Couture line if you're trying to make them the highly skilled line. So maybe instead of a UFA, maybe if he's able to have a good camp and step in, sure. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, yes, I still think you need to have a top 6 forward brought in. If one of these guys can't, fill in the roster.
I just don't know. I don't know if I'm still not sold on LeBanc being a top 6 guy. I think he's a good third line winger, but a good top line power play. He's an offensive threat, but he's a liability on the 200
and that's just it. He's an offensive threat, but unfortunately, that's it. For some teams, that's good enough. You just need a guy who can provide some offense, but this team needs more.
Since we don't have Jason scrolling these up here, Lundy is from Minnesota, and he's been with us since the Tavares episode, which was episode number 1. Radim Zaxios, I probably butchered it, watching from the Czech Republic before work. Signed Šimik, go Sharks. I forgot Šimik is a UFA.
Yes,
I'm sure they're going to sign him.
They're for sure going to sign him. They're for sure going to sign him. Thank you for tuning in from the Czech Republic. Did he say how he heard from us?
No, he did not.
Please let us know how you heard from us, because that's pretty awesome that someone's watching from the Czech. Thank you.
Sarah from Sacramento. Left-handed Lions. You need a hockey IQ-driven, dependable second-line right winger. I have some ideas, but are we going to go for older or younger? I don't think it matters. I think it just depends on the price is right and the player. I don't think the age really matters. It's harder to find a really young UFA. They're usually RFA until they're about 20. The earliest would be 26 if they've been playing since they're 18.
Yeah.
So.
No, you can have UFAs younger than that, but it's a really rare thing.
But not good players that you want in your top 6. Yeah. You're going to find guys probably 28 to 32 range, maybe even a little bit older.
Yeah, I think if you're going to get a guy who's younger, it's going to be coming from a trade, right?
Christopher Lindsay, thanks for the $2. Thoughts on a guy like Toffoli or Granlund? Well, Toffoli just got traded.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. He just got the game-winning goal,
Vancouver.
I think. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I picked him up in fantasy. I'm like, yes, he's finally out of LA. Once you get out of LA, you're scoring like crazy. And he's a guy that
we're for Kobe.
He's whatever. Yeah, anyway. I forgot what I was gonna say. Granlund. I think I like Toffoli better than Granlund, and Toffoli's a little bit younger, I think, than Granlund. I could be wrong.
I think if you're gonna get a guy who's on the younger side, you're gonna have to trade for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if Toffoli signs an extension in Vancouver if he's playing that well, and he's on the top line.
So yeah, for me, I'd almost rather see sign a highly skilled, younger right winger, and fill in the rest with veterans, right? Because I think that's part of the problem is that we've got so many guys that are too young. AHL guys don't have the experience, the NHL experience, and we're filling them in those bottom lines, and they're getting wrecked. There's certain, like Nason. I like Nason a lot, and when he was playing with Melker and insert other player here, they were doing a phenomenal job. Maybe it was Goodrow. I don't know. Goodrow was playing on the top line at the time. But they were doing a really good job, so I don't want to say it's just all that. But I think that, the AHL guys not being able to step in and really be impactful, a lot of them weren't able to do that. I would almost rather spend the money on a younger right winger than an older one. Mm-hmm. I know you're saying you don't really care, but I would rather bring in some older, more veteran guys to play in those that bottom six role. Because at least they have the NHL experience, right? So I think that does go a long way. They may not have the speed or the youth, but you sprinkle in a couple of those AHL guys with them. They get to learn kind of same thing with Jumbo, right? Teaching these younger guys how to play the game the right way and be mainstays in this league. So I think that's kind of where I would rather see the money. Plus, the older UFAs that maybe some teams are not really quite sold on, you might be able to get them at a decent price as well to kind of help with the cap situation. So, they'll be more expensive than the AHL guys calling them up, but they'll have better experience, and I think that the team would be a little bit more solidified around their bottom pairings or bottom groupings, I should say, lines.
Christopher Lindsay, another $2. Thank you. He said even Dadonov. Evgeny Dadonov.
I'm sorry.
Dadonov.
Every time, yes, Evgeny Dadonov, maybe they'd call it. I don't know. Every time, and I'm going to plug someone else's YouTube right now. Two BC Productions, okay? I don't know the episode, but it's how I learned how to play GM mode, like the right way. For me, the right way was watching this guy. His name is Johnny Superb Man. If you've ever watched him and you don't mind kind of a lot of boisterous talk, this guy is great. So what he does is he plays GM mode and he just narrates like everything, and he's a funny dude. But he was simming in GM mode and he had it on lock and it was close, and then Evgeny Dadonov scores and he just yells, Dadonov! And it was, I'm sorry, you have to watch the video because no, it's hilarious. But every time I hear that name, Evgeny, that's exactly what I come back to every single time, was just him screaming the guy's name. So anyway, sorry, long story, but
cool story, bro.
It was.
Deuces Shoeless, going back a little bit. Do you think Dillon could make a return to North America?
I
hope so.
Yeah.
Guy's gotten his confidence back, and the team name, Allsvenskan, is definitely a lower league, but he's lighting it up. That's the whole reason he went back there, I think, was to kind of
go light it up,
and to get his ice time up because he wasn't going to get any. So at the least, I would like to see him play for the Barracuda next year. I would love for him to have a great camp and come in here and make the roster.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a long shot considering the guy hasn't played too much. He hasn't played anything for the Barracuda.
I mean, let's not forget that, the NHL, let alone the AHL. Okay, the AHL is, it's a men's league. You've got a guy like Joachim Blichfeld who led the WHL in scoring, right? Mm-hmm. I think he led actually the CHL in scoring. Then he comes down to the Barracuda and he's played well. He gets called up to the NHL, doesn't, gets called, pushed back down. He's kind of back and forth. Just because a guy scores a ton of points in their respective league doesn't mean it's going to translate well necessarily to the NHL or even the AHL. That said, he's got a much better chance of doing well if he is lighting it up. So I would like to see him jump back in to the AHL onto the Barracuda next season, have a good showing. I think that'd be great. I'd love to see that guy. I know you've got more nostalgic reasons for wanting him to. Yes. Here's the jersey. Oh God, that is gross.
It is gross.
Oh my God.
It's been dry cleaned.
Is that white or is that yellow?
No, it's like yellow.
A little bit of both.
It's gross.
Okay.
But it's mine.
It is yours. I will not claim that. So it's definitely yours.
Whatever. Here's my first Sharks. In fact, on Reddit, you could put a little, I forget what it's called, flash. You put a thing on there.
Okay.
You pick a player, and I picked Ulf Dahlin.
There you go.
OG, man.
Yeah. Good stuff.
He was slick. I want Blake Wheeler as a right winger for the Sharks from Anthony Sanchez. That would be amazing.
Could you get him?
Hey,
wait. What does Winnipeg need?
Defenseman? A right-handed one?
I'm just saying it makes sense, people. That's all I'm saying, okay?
Does it?
I'm not saying I want it to make sense. I'm just saying that it does.
Blake Wheeler is their captain. He's 33.
Eh.
And he has 5 more seasons at 8.25.
Well, wait. How old's Brent Burns?
You'd be swapping Burns for Wheeler.
Yeah, exactly.
Salary-wise, practically, too.
Age. I think Burns is about a little bit older.
He's older.
Yeah.
By a year. 8.3, I said. And Burns is at
8
even. So we actually be paying more money.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Get him to retain a little bit.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. You know, Wheeler's he's a guy that plays the game the right way, though. You know?
Yeah.
He's a tough dude.
That would be them trading away their captain. I just don't see it happening.
That's true. Yeah.
John
Pavelski. They didn't even trade him. They let him walk. Come on. It happens.
Do you think Dillon is going to come back during the offseason from Jeremy?
Ryan Callahan. Anyway, what was that?
Do you think Dillon will come back? No. I don't think
No.
Sharks won't be able to afford him.
That's part of the, I mean, yeah. No, he's not coming back. No.
You know what would be great for the team? Mike Hoffman.
No.
That's a joke.
No. Not Mike
Pretty
Hoffman.
sure it's a joke.
Yes. I'm sure it was too.
Him and Karlsson don't really get along.
Yeah.
If you don't know that history, Google it.
Yeah.
Paul, yep, I see it happening. Heed for Wheeler. All right, I think the wheels are starting to come off now.
No, that's good. That was good. I appreciate that one. That was good. Heed for Wheeler. Only if they retain salary.
Right. All right.
We
We're
good?
going to call it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. No other questions, really? There's nothing else going on here?
I think,
kind of going
well,
crazy?
I think we will be back next Sunday.
Okay.
Or this upcoming Sunday for our normal scheduled live plus an episode.
Yes, with actual countdowns
Right.
and everything else. And
I will say, if you are not subscribed, please hit that subscription button down in the bottom corner somewhere around here. I don't know. Subscribe, like, share, tell your friends about it. I'm sure they're sick of hearing you talk about Sharks hockey when there's not much going on right now.
You're really selling it, by the way.
Just saying. Yeah, anything else you want to add there? You can follow us on all of our socials,
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have our own Reddit page. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Aaron, you're a good host. You're not bad as a producer, but you're a lousy salesman.
Terrible.
Let me give it a go. Hey, go ahead and visit thefinfactor.com because if you are enjoying the show, by the way, thanks for all the folks that hit us up with the Super Chat money. That certainly does help out the show. Every little bit helps. And we got a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. As you're doing that throughout the season, though, if you check how many times you've done that, you could probably have bought a hat or a shirt. So why don't you go ahead and visit the store again. Those 3 little buttons at the top there, it says support the show, because that is what you're doing. We do appreciate you doing that. Pick up a hat, shirt, send us a picture. We can feature on one of our shows. We don't have anybody send us any pictures anymore.
Nothing recently.
Yeah, so we need more of that. So again, we would absolutely appreciate that if you're enjoying what you're seeing here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. We've done the best we can.
And if you see us out in the wild, please feel free to stop by and say hi. We are very friendly, and we would love to take a picture.
Absolutely. I
do
keep
it a
forgetting
lot.
to do that, too, when people say, oh, hey, what's up? And,
Yeah.
and then I forget to ask to take a picture.
Okay, let's get a picture real quick.
Yeah.
Selfie.
No doubt. Just like that. Make that a face if you can. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and sign off now. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in and, kind of chatting with us. Again, this for me is the most fun.
I gotta
part of
go
the
over
show.
there and actually
You
turn it
do
off.
need to go there. I'm trying to
I gotta
burn
do
time
work.
for you to go. So he's got to go over to the board to shut us off and whatever producers do over there. I don't know. So, Aaron, are you ready to pull the cord? He doesn't know what to do.
Oh, God. I'm scrolling through. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, Aaron is ready. That means I am ready. So for super producer sort of / host, Aaron,
That's me.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
You already said it to me. We will see you guys
Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.